Due to innovations in technology, medicine, and food production, and the relative lack of large-scale war, the second half of the 20th century saw the global population more than triple, from 2.5 billion people in 1950 to nearly 8 billion today. President Lincoln's vision of research driving advances in agriculture was realized, as farmers in Washington and across the country saw advances in plant breeding, fertilizers, and pest control improve yields and reduce loss. At the same time, research in livestock led to healthier and more productive animals, leading to more milk, meat, and eggs. While many countries experienced famines and food shortages through the 1990s, people in the United States enjoyed an abundant, reliable, and affordable food supply. One important story about abundant food supply started here in Washington. At Washington State University in Pullman, increasing research in agricultural science led to developing better varieties of wheat in the 1950s. This work was led by Orville Vogel. He was the successor to William Spillman, one of the founders of the field of genetics, and also WSU's first scientist to study wheat and improve it for farmers in Washington. Vogel's breakthrough was a result of crossing a short wheat variety from Japan called Norin 10 with other wheats to make new varieties with significantly higher yields, which were more wind-resistant and hardier. Vogel shared his seeds with Norman Borlaug, an American agronomist who led the introduction of these high-yielding varieties to Mexico, Pakistan, and India. Borlaug is considered the father of the Green Revolution, which was the name of a movement that vastly increased food production worldwide through the development of high-yielding varieties of wheat and rice. He also introduced modern practices widely used in America: irrigation, fertilizers, and pesticides to control weeds, insects, and fungi that damage growing plants. Although the Green Revolution is credited with saving over 1 billion people from starvation, there were unintended consequences, such as increased pollution due to the misuse and overuse of pesticides and fertilizers. The rapid removal of native forests and grasslands to grow more crops has reduced habitat for threatened and endangered wildlife species. These problems and pollution from manufacturing, more cars, and power generation caused more and more people to become concerned. Many people asked the federal government to take action to protect public waters, reduce air pollution, and protect endangered wildlife. This led to the Clean Air Act passed in 1970, the Clean Water Act passed in 1972, and the Endangered Species Act in 1973. These laws had immediate and lasting impact on agriculture. Most farmers and ranchers in Washington have always cared deeply about the land. But these new regulations have promoted more emphasis on producing food with less impact on the environment. The original mindset of native Washington peoples, striving to live in harmony with our natural resources, is increasingly relevant for how researchers and farmers alike think about sustainable food production. In recent decades, many growers have turned to technology and innovation to accomplish the goal of sustainable production. One example of innovation is the use of precision agriculture. With precision agriculture, farmers work smarter, not harder. They use data analysis of weather patterns, remote sensing probes to monitor soil temperature and humidity, satellite infrared images to track plant growth, apps on their phones to control irrigation systems, and sensors on animals to monitor their health. The debate continues about which approach to food production is most likely to reduce the environmental impact of agriculture, but there is no debate that more needs to be done. You are likely going to be joined by another 1 or 2 billion people on this planet in your lifetime. The great challenge of today is feeding even more people while having less environmental impact and keeping food choices plentiful and affordable. And this is a challenge that involves you. What foods do you enjoy? Have you thought about where they were grown? The environmental impact from growing it? Or the people required to plant, harvest, process, and ship it to you? Now that you see how you are a part of the larger story of food, land, and people in our state, what role will you play in cultivating Washington?